accidentally stepped on a shambler buried in a bramble patch. Nellie, a girl who was fond of reminding everyone how she could read, not that it kept her from dying a week into her stint as an attendant, and me. We sat in the pony, each trapped in our own private hells, as we silently considered our futures. The pony pulled into Miss Preston's, and for the first time since I'd left home, I felt a stirring of possibility. See, Miss Preston's looked like home to me. Oversized oaks, white split-rail fence, deadlier exterior fences, a wide lawn. The school had been built in the manner of a plantation house, and while such a design caused the other girls to suck their teeth and shake their heads, it made me feel something that few places have made me feel: safe. I do realize that there is a fine bit of irony in the architecture of oppression, granting me a measure of peace. But keep in mind, I was not always the woman awoken to the dynamics of power I became during my tenure at Miss Preston's. As we tumbled out of the pony and into the front yard of Miss Preston's, the headmistress and school's namesake descended the front steps to greet us. She was a large woman, and an excess of ruffles accentuated her size. She gave me the impression of a very fancy cake, all layers and joy, and the memory now makes me cringe. Had she been calculating our value to her own plans for ascension like a villain in a Shakespearean tragedy, even as she greeted us with warmth and affection? I'd like to think not, but I know people too well to believe any differently. Folks are, at their heart, selfish, and anything they tell you is more often than not designed to meet their own goals. I know, because I ain't any different.
"Welcome, girls, to Miss Preston's School of Combat for Negro Girls," she proclaimed. "Here you will leave behind your old lives and find yourselves transformed into women of the world. It will be you who attend to and protect the finest and most elite women in this country. You will lead lives of bravery and service, and your future is now full of limitless potential."
Silence was our only response, because every single one of us would have done anything in that moment just to get back home.
"The upper-class girls behind me will escort you to your rooms. You'll each start with Form 1 lessons. As you get settled in, the girls will explain to you the household rules. Welcome once again to Miss Preston's, and I hope you take advantage of the miraculous opportunities afforded to you here at the school."
With that, we were whisked away to our rooms. The thing that stuck with me from Miss Preston's little speech was the idea that we were embarking on a new life. But the problem about starting a new life is you bring your old self with you. Even though I was told that this was a great opportunity and I had a responsibility to grasp it and work toward greatness, I was still the same Jane McKeene that couldn't help but run off at every opportunity to get into trouble. Back at Rose Hill, rules had been breakable as eggshells and just as easily disposed of. My impetuousness had, more often than not, been rewarded with indulgence, not punishment. And I suppose part of me had expected somewhat of the same at Miss Preston's. But that wasn't to be, and I learned right quick where I stood with the instructors at the school. 2 days after I arrived, I got my first lashing. That initial night at Miss Preston's, I had lain in the dark and listened to the crying and sleep sounds of 20 or so other girls. I would have been the oldest girl in my class if it hadn't been for a pretty blonde-haired girl named Catherine Devereaux. I couldn't say why I hated Catherine so much on first sight. Maybe it was her bossiness. Maybe it was the way all the other girls gravitated to her, as though her friendship and approval could change their lives. Or maybe it was because she smiled all the time, always smoothing things over when